What's up, everybody? Welcome back to JCS Reefing. I am Jason, and this is my 100-gallon reef tank that is long overdue for an update behind me. It's been probably 3 months, if not more, probably more than that, since my last video. I since then have had a new baby girl to our family, and anybody with kids obviously knows that that takes up a lot of time with a newborn. Also, I just wanted to come on and say, with everything going on in the world, I just wanted to say first, before we get to the video, that I really hope everyone's families and friends are staying safe and healthy. So without further ado, let's get to the video. Alright everybody, so this is what my tank is looking like today, and I must say, it's really doing pretty good. This tank did move from my second story to my first story in my house not quite a year ago. I'm not exactly sure, but it hasn't been a full year. So doing all the move and everything, the tank really didn't skip a beat for a really long time. So far right now, most of my corals are doing, really well. And one thing that I have learned, unfortunately the hard way, is that placement is a very big part of a reef tank. I started out with just kind of getting frags and sticking them on rocks and, trying to put some of the species together so there wouldn't be, chemical warfare. But unfortunately, some of them are close in together, and they are now, kind of battling for space. This side of the rock is, mostly frags, and everything for the most part is growing and encrusting. The last video I think I did was when I got a coral shipment, and those corals are all doing really well. I have lost, I think, one acro, and for the most part, yeah, everything's looking really good, pretty darn healthy right now. Now, a little while back, I did actually add some fish to the tank. And once I added those fish to the tank, I started to, feed a little bit more. Now I'm going to turn on the whites a little bit more here to kind of get more of a, realistic look, not so fluorescent with the corals. And this is pretty much, what the tank looks like when you're looking at it for the most part. Now honestly, it's not exact, but it's pretty darn close. And looking at it with this type of lighting, you can see, everything is pretty darn healthy, and I'm really happy with it. Like I said, I was adding a bunch of fish. I added, I think, about 5 wrasses, 2 tangs, and I actually did have a triggerfish in here. Unfortunately, he did not make it. So it's just kind of something that comes with the hobby. Not always, of course, but I'm not really sure what happened. He was fine for about 2 weeks, and then unfortunately I just found him in the tank. So moving forward, some of the issues that I've had with this tank. Now, as I stated, I did add some fish, and when I add fish, I learned a lesson, and I've been doing this for quite a long time, and I fed the fish too much, and it rose my phosphates, and that ended up causing some of these monoporas and acroporas to do what you're seeing here. And they were kind of just decaying away slowly, and normally I was really good about testing. I was testing alkalinity Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I was testing phosphates every Friday, and nitrates. And there was never really a move in my tank, so I never thought twice about it. I just kept on feeding the fish flake food, pellet food, frozen food, nori. So you can see some of the corals here were definitely affected by that. Now, for the most part, they are starting to come back. Luckily, I did break some off, like this monopora here was actually part of the one that was not doing so well. So I figured, I'm going to snap off a piece. So I took it off of this one right here, and I glued it onto another part of the rock, and for some reason, it started to come back, and actually the main one is starting to come back. Unfortunately, I did lose this. I'm not exactly sure. I think it was maybe a stag or something. But yeah, that ended up completely dying. And some of the stuff I do need to get out. Some of the skeleton stuff are still in the tank. But you can definitely see that the effect that the phosphates had. Normally my tank was running right about 0.03, and I didn't test for maybe 2 or 3 weeks with feeding. Like I said, time got away from me. And yeah, it went all the way up to 0.2, which is a huge spike in my tank, and they definitely did not like it. Anyways, everything is relatively back on track. Everything is back to normal levels. Definitely back to my normal testing routine. So that is one lesson learned, man. If you're short on time, test. I mean, it does suck sometimes. Some people love it, some people hate it, but it can definitely make or break a tank. So, you know, a lot of people say they don't test. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, that's something I'm not going to do again. So yeah, lesson learned, and it was a big one. Unfortunately, like I said, I did lose some pieces, and hopefully everything is back on track. So I'll try to do another update here soon, and maybe if you have any requests for videos or anything you'd like to see differently, please feel free to leave a comment. And as always, happy reefing. Cheers.